that Republicans have created throughout this year, including as it relates to their one big ugly bill that hurts everyday Americans in order to reward their billionaire donors. Democrats made clear, including at the White House meeting on Monday, that healthcare premiums, copays, and deductibles were about to skyrocket for tens of millions of Americans all across the country in an environment where the cost of living in this country is already too high. Donald Trump has already made life more expensive because of his tariffs and failed Republican policies. But that cost of living crisis is about to get worse, particularly as it relates to healthcare costs. Here are just 3 examples as it relates to the types of skyrocketing healthcare costs that everyday Americans are about to confront. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, by way of example, just one plan. Currently, this healthcare plan costs an everyday American, a working class American.
By the way, for anyone who says, oh, the Democrats, they want to give health care to illegal aliens. The Democrats don't even want to give Democrats free health care, okay? All we're talking about is making sure that Obamacare subsidies aren't expiring, which is important. That's important. You know, the Affordable Care Act was a step further towards free health care, which so many other nations around the world have done successfully. And people will say, oh, well, my taxes are going to go up. I'm going to have to pay more in taxes to pay for healthcare for other people that can't afford it. Wrong. You're already paying for it. You're already paying more money by paying for your privatized health insurance. Okay? So all we're trying to do is save you some money and make sure that you have life-saving care that you need. You don't have to pay into a business model to make sure that your life isn't going to make you bankrupt.
$595.94 a month. But because Republicans refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit, that same plan is going to go up to $1,890 per month. How is that possible for working families to afford? That's in Virginia. In Idaho, Silver Plan currently available for $611 per month. But it's now public information that because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, that same plan, currently $611 per month, will go up to $2,083 a month in an environment where America is already too expensive, where the cost of living is already too high, where the Trump tariffs are already.
That's absurd. Who could afford that? $2,000 a month for health insurance? That is unbelievable. Imagine doing that on top of rent, right? Most people are already paying that amount of money in rent. And then you've got your car payments, your student loans, your car insurance, probably your phone bill, your internet bill, your utilities, right? So you're working all week long. You have everything you've earned going towards all these things that Republicans want you to pay for. And then in the end, you have very little take-home money, and you got to pay taxes next year.
Imposing thousands of dollars per year of additional costs. And now, healthcare costs is about to skyrocket out of control. One final example. In Georgia.
If this all happens, the country is literally going to collapse. Like, people who are working aren't going to be able to afford anything. They're going to stop paying for things. People might even just stop working because they'll think, what's the point of working? I'm working 50, 60 hours a week. I can't make any more money. And my boss can't afford to pay me anymore because my boss also can't afford to get by. And their boss also can't afford to get by, but it's the bosses at the top that are totally fine.
The Heart of Dixie in the Deep South. Current silver HMO plan from Kaiser Permanente. Currently it costs $699 per month. But because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, that same plan, currently $699 per month, is about to skyrocket to $2,763 a month.
If this all goes according to plan, though, this could be the biggest opportunity for Democrats to actually run on something exciting. Like, hey, we're going to make healthcare universal for everybody. You can still have private insurance if you want it, but we are going to make sure that everybody has access to being insured by being taxpayer Americans. And that would be a message that would win in 2026 and 2028, because all these Republicans are about to lose their health insurance, or they're about to find their health insurance to be unaffordable. And this could be the opportunity for Democrats to remind people, hey, we can help the working class. We can be a working class party. Or do the Democrats want to continue moving to the right because they're worried that if they become too far left, they're going to scare off these moderate voters? Wrong. You're going to pick up voters who are so frustrated and tired and poor, and they thought Donald Trump was going to help make things more affordable for them, like healthcare. But when they find out the opposite has happened, you can come to their rescue. You can actually deliver results for people and actually represent the people that you claim to care about. We know there are some Democrats in the caucus that want to do this. We know AOC, for example, she is going to help champion universal health care. Bernie Sanders, this is something he's been preaching for well beyond my lifetime. And yet, we don't hear it from top Democratic leadership. We just hear that they want to protect what exists, but they don't want to expand things any more than that because they're worried about scaring off their donors as well.
This is going to cause medical bankruptcy for some, and millions of others will be unable to afford the health care that they need for themselves, their children, and their families. This is why we need to deal with the Republican healthcare crisis right now. Because the crisis is having real impact on working class Americans right now. And the notion that there's time to wait. Think about this. That Republicans spent all year focused on their one big ugly bill so they can permanently extend massive tax breaks for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected for their billionaire donors in order to subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. That's what they've done all year. And these tax breaks for the wealthy and the well-off, they were scheduled to expire on December 31st. But they spent months obsessed with rewarding their billionaire donors with massive tax breaks, but now claim that the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which expire at the same time as those tax breaks for their wealthy friends, no, they can't be bothered. They can't be bothered with extending them right now. Why is this? Because Republicans just want to gut health care for the American people. And Democrats will continue to stand on the side of the American people, fight for their health care, and improve their quality of life. Questions?
Majority Leader Thune and Speaker Johnson have said that they are willing to negotiate on the ACA tax credits, but only if the government is reopened. Is it that Democrats don't trust that they would negotiate in good faith without the leverage of a government shutdown?
Tyler, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Everyone can see Tyler's comment. He says, I live with my parents because I'm scared to move and I have something happen to my dad. Has 3 heart attacks and can't work. My mom can't work. This increase in healthcare insurance is screwing people over. Tyler, you're exactly right. And remember, before Obamacare, people couldn't even get insurance if they had pre-existing conditions because health insurance companies didn't want to actually invest in the business of saving people's lives, if they saw that someone elderly already had a heart attack or they already had diabetes or something, they weren't even going to take them as a client because they knew it was going to be more expensive for their health insurance company. Their thought is, why would we choose to insure somebody that is going to have all these costs that is actually going to save them money? Our business model as health insurance companies is you pay thousands of dollars into our company and never actually need us or never get to use us. Obamacare changed that. Obamacare made sure that people had the right to be insured. And now Republicans are trying to cut those subsidies. They're trying to make it so that people just have to pay more money like they did way before.
Well, we don't view a government shutdown as leverage. Republicans have shut the government down. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They've shut the government down. Now, of course, we've made clear we will work in a bipartisan way with our Republican colleagues, try to find a path forward, reopen the government, and reach a spending agreement, but it has to meet the needs of the American people. If we're going to vote affirmatively on a spending bill, I think the American people understand it's reasonable for us to make the point that that spending bill should actually improve the lives of the American people, particularly as it relates to dealing with the Republican healthcare crisis that is present right now. And why would we believe that Republicans have any interest in addressing the Affordable Care Act based on their word, when for 15 years Republicans have been doing everything possible to gut the Affordable Care Act, to repeal and displace people off the Affordable Care Act? And Democrats have pushed back aggressively against them, and thankfully, several years ago, with the courageous support of then Senator John McCain, we stopped the Trump Republican effort.
Does that mean Democrats should hold out for a deal that's down on paper rather than one that's promised?
It means that we need an ironclad legislative agreement to address the health care issues that we have raised, including the Affordable Care Act.
Unfortunately, I see the way this is going to play out. Democrats eventually are going to cave. They really don't have much leverage in this situation, and Republicans really are winning the PR battle. They're making it seem like it's the Democrats who are shutting down the government. The Democrats are trying to give health care to illegals. Hakeem is trying his best here, but we need more bold Democratic leaders flooding the zone, like talking everywhere on every single network, holding a sit-in, doing something to actually drive attention away from the propaganda and the nonsense messaging that we're about to watch in Caroline Leavitt's press conference. I'm going to pull that up after this. We need Democrats to actually take back control of the narrative in this country, and this is such an opportunity for them to do that. And even, Speaker Jeffries is not a great speaker, right? Just not getting the message across in a way that's clear. That's what I'm trying to do for everybody here. I'm trying to take what they're saying and make it digestible for you, but let's listen to see if he improves.
Thank you. I know there's a lot of messaging going on both sides of the aisle, even inside your party. Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, they had their feed. They seem to be getting a lot of attention here. There was a lot of criticism of the official Democratic feed, glitches and everything else. To what do you attribute what Ocasio-Cortez and Sanders are doing compared to what you guys were doing and the criticism that was leveled?
Interesting question. You can tell he's stuttering already. He's asking, what do you feel about the fact that Bernie Sanders and AOC are criticizing you and basically saying that your moderate wing of the party is ruining the country?
I have no idea what that question actually is intended to mean. Like, Democrats have been all over the country engaging in every possible way, communicating with the American people that we're privileged to represent as it relates to the stakes of this fight. And our position, from the most progressive member all the way through to our most moderate members, has been consistently clear. Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care. And everybody's on board because we all share those values. And we continue to be in a more is more environment. So I think that observation seems to be the silliest thing possible when we're fighting to defend the health care of the American people. And by the way,
He doesn't like the fact that he's being outflanked by members of his own party. He doesn't like the fact that he continues being blamed for being a moderate Democrat at best. Mind you, people need to remember this. Hakeem Jeffries endorsed Charlie Kirk before he endorsed Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani is about to be mayor in New York City. And yes, he's just mayor, but this is the biggest city in the country, and this has become a national story. Hakeem Jeffries, yes, he is the minority leader of the House of Representatives, but he represents New York. That's his district, right? And he has failed to even endorse the Democrat who is about to be mayor in the city, but at the same time recently signed onto a piece of legislation that recognizes Charlie Kirk as an American hero, a courageous American hero who sought to seek truth. So I think it was something like he sought to spread truth. So Hakeem Jeffries says Charlie Kirk's a hero who told the truth. Mamdani, too leftist. That's the leadership of the Democratic Party. That's how you know they're not prepared to meet the moment. That's how you know they actually don't mind a lot of what Trump is doing. They're weak. They're feckless. And that's on display here.
anybody who understands what a more is more environment means is that you create content that can then be distributed by members to their constituents. And that's what members continue to do. Speak authentically to the people that they're privileged to represent.
There are some reports floating around that Speaker Johnson might not bring the chamber back next week. What guidance have you gotten about next week's House schedule, and are you concerned about this further delaying the swearing in of Congressman-elect Adelita Grijalva?
House Republicans continue to be on vacation, spread out across the country and the world, and this makes no sense. It's Exhibit A for the fact that House Republicans wanted to shut the government down and have no interest in reopening it because they don't want to provide health care to everyday Americans.
Have you spoken to Speaker Johnson about the timing of swearing in of Adelita Grijalva, and if so, what did he say?
It's our expectation that Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva will be sworn in as soon as the House is back in session next Tuesday. Thanks. Yeah.
Congressman Khanna,
That's an interesting point, by the way. He's talking about the Democrat Adelita Grijalva, who just won the special election in Arizona. That would give Democrats 218 votes to force a release of the Epstein files, which is the absolute fear of Speaker Johnson, Donald Trump, etc., because they're all incriminated in that. They all know Donald Trump is a key criminal in that investigation. And so, unlike every other representative that Speaker Johnson swears in the day after they're elected, he's delayed her confirmation by almost 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. Wow. So this is not only the MAGA shutdown, but really this is the Epstein shutdown, because they're trying to prevent her from being sworn in for as long as possible. Maybe they're trying to clean up the files, get rid of Trump's name.